All right, everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon of Doom. I am Kyle Meinke, Lions beat writer for MLive.com, joined, as always, by Ben Raymond. Ben, it is week one. We are days away from Lions-Rams on Sunday Night Football. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, John McVay, no Kelly Stafford, thankfully. But it's going to be a blockbuster night at Ford Field.
Yeah, it is. My head's buzzing already. We know what it's going to be like. I anticipate the playoff-like atmosphere, all those superlatives you can lay out there. It is, back-to-back years just starting the season with just the national spotlight shining bright down on these Detroit Lions.
I've already invested in some industrial grade earplugs for this night. But the thing that I forget who said it, I think it might have been Anzalone this week, but I don't know. One of the guys said it, and about the atmosphere in that Lions-Rams game in the wild card round that resonated with me from the press box, which is 7 floors up at Ford Field, was like the buzz in the air. Like you could feel the air.
Yes.
I haven't, maybe just one other time I covered Michigan basketball a million years ago, Michigan, Indiana, when they were like, I don't know, top 3, they played at Indiana, and it was crazy kind of like that. But those are the only 2 times that I've been to Super Bowls and all kinds of stuff. And the buzz in that air, like you could feel it on your skin. I mean, like you and I are sitting next to each other in the press box, and you had to yell to hear each other. And like Taylor Decker said this week, they set a noise record, Lions-Rams part 1, part 2, they want to reset the record again. I think it's going to be just an epic night at Ford Field.
Yeah, because they're going to have about 12 hours to party and prime themselves to get ready. So it's going to be, it is going to be wild. Like I'm trying already to think like, oh my God, how early do I need to get down there? Because it's going to be a madhouse.
Yeah, I'm biking from my place because I don't want to deal with the snarl that's certainly going to just landlock downtown Detroit. Got a mailbag on top, kind of our regular in week feature throughout the season. First one this week got, as always, the questions from our subtext program. Contractually obligated to tell everyone that to go to any story on MLive, and you can find how to sign up for the subtext. Text us directly, getting questions for the mailbag. It's pretty cool. Interesting set of questions this week, as you'd expect, I think. Going into a Super Bowl kind of expectation season. I mean, listen, Ben, like I know they were good in the 90s. They had some good teams, I should say, in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm 38. I grew up on those teams in the 90s. I've been around these parts since 2013. I don't ever remember an offseason like this where they're so universally regarded as one of the heavyweights in the NFC and a leading contender to make the Super Bowl. I mean, it's crazy because the expectations are so high, and yet it feels inevitable. It feels like, this is where they've been trending.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I mean, I look back to when they lost to the Saints in the playoffs in the early 2010s, and it's just like, there's no even comparing that feeling around that. And that was one of the best like turnarounds in recent history from 0-16 to that stands. And it was nowhere near where it is now. I mean, you turn on NFL Network and I think like 3 out of the 4 people hosting that show this morning had the Lions either winning or losing the Super Bowl, man. Like it is like, pinch me. Like what everyone's predicting, Lions, Chiefs, Lions, Bills. It's unbelievable. It's just, I'm just ready to get it started, man. It's ready to see what it's going to look like, and what a way to start. What a way to start.
I think about training camp, and like I used to think I knew what a good team looked like or good players back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I covered 2014 team. It was a pretty good team, great on defense. They have some star power with Sue and Stafford and Calvin. Yeah. And then I covered this team, and you saw it last year too. And this year was kind of the same, where in training camp, it's like you'll be looking at a roster battle for the 5th or 6th spot at a position. And it's like, these guys can ball. Mm-hmm. You look at a guy like Ife Melifonwu. I mean, that guy would have started any other year for the Lions safety. And right now, that guy's on the bench. He didn't win a starting job. I mean, you're still going to see him in the third safety role. You see him some in the nickel, I think. Yeah. But when you look at stuff like that, it's like I had no idea what I was looking at before, what like an elite team actually looked like. And last summer, I'm like, oh man, this team's gonna be real good based on the depth that I saw. And this summer it was the same. It was astonishing to see quality guys at the bottom. Like Kendall Vildor was starting games at outside corner for this team down the stretch last year in the playoffs. He started the NFC Championship game. That guy won the final spot, I think 7th spot, maybe the 6th spot, whatever the last spot was at corner. He's your last corner on the team. Like that's like the upgrade that's happened from last year. Your biggest weakness. You bring everyone else back. The offense is really good. You got Jared Goff, Ben Johnson pulling the strings. I mean, no wonder the expectations are so high.
Yeah, it's like it's been hard to spot red flags. Like we've said it a couple times, like red flag is wide receiver 3 and kicker. No team's going to be perfect, so it's a pretty good situation to be in. I mean, like you said, I started in 2019, so I have never seen anything like the last 2 years, and it's just they have 7 freaking linebackers on this team, and they're all probably going to see freaking snaps between special teams and defense. It's just Brad Holmes, baby, he's built a true team here, and that's the true difference here. There's not a standout superstar propping it up like Calvin or Stafford or Sue. It's like a true deep team on both sides of the ball, I feel like, and it's just, we're about to see it.
I think aside from losing Jared Goff, Amon Ra, St. Brown, or Penei Sewell, I think they could absorb any loss and still keep it rolling. I mean, look at linebacker, look on the defensive line now. Maybe edge rusher's a little bit thinner, but interior offensive line, running back, this team is gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be pretty interesting season. Let's dive in, shall we?
Yeah.
So let's start with Mario. I know you were kind of buzzing about this question. You liked it.
It's creative. It's creative.
You flagged it for me. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be pretty good, and I like it. It's creative. So there's some props coming up. Mario says recently traveled home to Buffalo. Shout out Buffalo, and lost $40 on the blackjack table. That doesn't seem so bad to me.
Yeah, that's controlled. Yeah.
In celebration of Mario's ineptitude as a gambler, let's get to some quick numbers. He wants us to hit on the number listed or stand as in going below. So basically an over-under, right? So let's go over-under to keep things simple. Aidan Hutchinson receives at least one Defensive Player of the Year vote. Over-under.
Hit.
Yeah. I'll take it too.
Absolutely.
He was I think Amon Ra St. Brown was the best player I saw in camp. Aside from that, I think Penei Sewell, I thought Aidan Hutchinson was. And Aidan Hutchinson goes up against Penei Sewell, and Penei's a stud. I'm not saying that he struggled. He didn't. Those are some titanic clashes. But Aidan was just everywhere. And the Lions have one of the best offensive lines in the league. And Aidan was living in the backfield.
Yeah. 67 more pressures than any other teammate last year, accounted for 40% of the team's pressures. And now with this defensive line and the linebackers getting better and the secondary getting better, there are going to be more chances where he's not facing a double team or a double team and then a chip out of the backfield. So I am buying the Aidan Hutchinson takes another leap. I just, like you said, he's a brick house, man. I mean, he really is.
He had the second most total pressures last year behind only Micah Parsons. And that was with a really thin group around him. And Alim McNeill played well, but Alim McNeill missed the last month of the season. No one else on the edge was helping him. No. That's not the case anymore. They brought in Marcus Davenport, who I think is going to have a good year if he stays healthy. He brought in DJ Reader. Reader and McNeill on the inside are going to bleep some folks up. And it's going to free up a guy like Aidan Hutchinson to make more plays, which is almost unthinkable because he's made a lot of plays. Amon Ra St. Brown, NFL leader in receptions.
Ooh. You know what? Hit. Give me that. He is the focal point of this offense. I think everything goes through him. Still more.
His target share in practice is 40, 50%.
It's unbelievable.
And every big play, third down, goal line. I mean, we've seen it in games. I'm probably not breaking anything new for anyone out there. The trust factor is incredible. Amon Ra St. Brown is not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. I don't know if he has one skill set that is itself truly elite, other than the consistency of doing everything right every single time, exactly the same way. And I think that last point is what makes him such an elite player and so good for Goff in this offense, because let's look at J-Mo. J-Mo is one of the fastest guys in the NFL. He touches the football. He can take it all the way at any given play. But J-Mo's a developing player that's figuring out his route tree. He's a little bit more inconsistent. It's harder for Goff to know exactly where J-Mo's going to be, to be able to anticipate it. If there's a rush bearing down, okay, I know exactly where J-Mo's going to be. I can just throw it up there, and he's going to run underneath it. It's not quite there yet with J-Mo, but that's what Amon Ra St. Brown is. I mean, those guys, sometimes Amon Ra's not even out of his break. He's not even in his break yet. And Goff's already releasing the football. He's incredible. And I think with the loss of Josh Reynolds, maybe some of the depth issues that we see at receiver, you're going to see even more Amon Ra.
Mhm.
And he draws a lot of attention from the defense. That's what makes a guy like JMO so critical, because if he is as good as people expect, you're going to have to play Amon Ra more honestly. But double team him every play, he's still going to get his.
Exactly. He's an assassin. He's a route runner assassin. He really is.
David Montgomery leads the Lions in touches.
I'm gonna stand on that one. St. Brown. I
Yeah.
mean, if it was carries, you might get me hitting on that because I do see that. But no, I'm gonna stand on that. St. Brown will lead this team in touches one way or another.
Yeah, I'm gonna fold on that. I don't have anything to add. David Montgomery's a very dependable player. I think he's good. I think you're gonna see him start against the Rams. He's gonna bloody the interior. He's going to get rolling eventually because he always does. If there's a critical play to be made in the second half, he's going to make it because he always does. His force of momentum is crazy.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't fall backward. I mean, he's just a bowling ball in there. And then that's what makes him so interesting and so good with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is just going to blow past you. And as the game wears on, I think a guy like Gibbs gets better and better because his speed is incredible. I think if like you ran JMO and Gibbs in a 40, JMO would win.
Yeah.
I think if you ran them like a 20 or 25, I think Gibbs would win every single one of them. His speed, his acceleration is breathtaking.
Yeah. No, it really is. And I do think I think Montgomery will lead the way in carries, but I think there will be a lot more of Jahmyr in the running centric attack this year too, just because.
And in the passing game too.
In the passing game. No doubt about it.
More than one player on defense makes the Pro Bowl other than Hutchinson.
Yeah, give me McNeil. I think the Reader edition is going to unlock McNeil even more too. And if he's out there for 16 games, you're going to see an even better version of McNeil.
Yeah, I'm unclear if they're saying like more than one defender. Overall, if it's more than one aside from Hutchinson, I think Hutchinson is going to be borderline All-Pro.
Yes.
Aleem McNeil is right in that mix too. That'd be kind of crazy to see two Pro Bowl players at the same position. It could happen if they're both healthy. DJ Reader has had, some injury issues in the past couple of years, so we'll see when he makes his debut, how much he's out there this year. But he's going to be a good player. I might pass on this one. I think it's maybe asking a lot, but I think collectively the defense is going to be vastly improved. You're going to see a much better pass defense. And that actually takes us into the next one, which is Lions defense is top 16 in the league. I just want to go first and say, I'll double down. Give it to me. I think top 10 is, for me, expectation based on what I saw in camp. Mm-hmm. The investments that you've made on that side of the ball to shore up the biggest weaknesses, which was obviously at corner and particularly outside corner. Kendall Vildor, again, was starting for this team, and he's the last guy in the totem pole right now. So, there's a lot to like about Carlton Davis. Yeah. I think Terrion Arnold, he's going to redshirt a little bit. Not redshirt, but he's going to be a true freshman out there, right? Like a guy who's never done this before. He's going to go out there against Matthew Stafford on night one. I have some concerns there. I asked Aaron Glenn a little bit about that just today, actually, and we'll get into that more in the mailbag. But he's going to have some growing pains. I think it's for every Sauce Gardner, there's like 100 guys who are good but just need some time. And as rookies, and Terrion Arnold, I think for me is in that mix. But by the end of the year, I think this unit should be top 10. Collectively.
Yeah, I'll hit on top 16 because if they're not top 16, something has gone terribly wrong. I will just say that. But I also have top 10 expectations for this group this season.
Last one, Lions are the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
Hit it. Screw it. You know what? I think we had them each at 12-5. The NFC's a little muddy. There's going to be teams beating up on each other. If they go 12-5 and win the division, they should be in that 2 or 1 mix for sure.
Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
I mean I just know what I'm seeing in camp. And listen, you can't predict injuries.
No.
But Goff, St. Brown, stay healthy. There's no reason this team shouldn't be 1 or 2. They're just loaded. They have experience. Even the coordinators are back. That's one of the biggest differentiators between what the Lions have going on versus your typical team that has risen to the top. Usually when you rise to the top, people take notice and they want to steal your ideas and your people. It's just the natural evolution of this league. And they have all 3 coordinators back for yet another run at it. The continuity is incredible. I mean, they can add the most interesting wrinkles to the offense because all the cornerstones are back, all of them. You lost one offensive lineman, but you replaced him with Kevin Zeitler, who's been around forever and just made the Pro Bowl last year in Baltimore, which, hey, that's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I 1 or 2 seed for sure for me.
Yeah, not only is the continuity rare, but every offensive coach is back too. So it's like there's levels to that, and it is rare. Don't look past that. It is rare, and you should be having these 1 or 2 seed expectations because that's what this team is.
I will add, I think maybe the biggest wild card or X factor, if you will, on the 1 or 2 seed thing is you have to figure out a solution at receiver.
Yeah.
For me, that's they want to pound the ball on the ground, and they can do it, but like this team was the number 2 passing team in the league last year. They got a lot of done through the air, and I think that if JMO falters as the number 2 or has some inconsistencies, you have there's the number 3 right now is your 5'9" kick returner, punt returner, Khalif Raymond.
Yeah.
They did just sign a couple of guys to the practice squad, so maybe Allen Robinson, Tim Patrick rise to the top. I know they love the size of those guys. We'll see down the stretch with them, but man, when Isaiah Williams, your 5'8", 5'9", undrafted rookie, is your only guy on the bench, and you're starting your return man in the lineup, you really need Amon Ra and JMO to be dudes. And JMO has the ability. He's never put it all together before, and maybe he can. I wouldn't doubt it. He does it at some point, but is he there yet is going to be a big question for this offense and could be ultimately determining, are you a good team or are you a great team?
Yeah, no, we're going to learn a lot early too, because I mean, Patrick and Robinson just joined the situation. Laporta and Gibbs have kind of been missing from camp the last couple of weeks, so there are definitely some bumps to get through, and that depth is real. Like if something happens to one of those receivers, they're in a tough spot.
I think John A asks a great question going into Lions Rams. John asks, I would like to know how the secondary is going to mesh since the starters haven't practiced together. That is the biggest question I have for Detroit going to this team. They have a great offense, just loaded with talent. We talked about it. Ford Field is going to be the most hostile territory in the league this year, maybe, with how good the Lions are. Playing this game in prime time, I mean, my ears are already ringing. But Matthew Stafford has been around the block a time or two.
Yeah.
He's won big games. Speak what you will of his time in Detroit, but he's a talented player who's been around, super savvy guy, really, really, really smart quarterback, got 2 good receivers, good running back. I think that they're going to test Terry and Arnold. They have a secondary that has 4 guys in new spots this year, including Brian Branch moving to safety, and you got 3 new corners all the way across the field. Stafford is going to test those guys, and I think in particular, he's going to see what the rookie Terry Arnold can do, and it's going to be a big question for this game.
Yeah, and it's going to be loud, so I hope that they're not only meshing, but I hope that their silent communication is on point too, because we've heard about it all week. Like LA has turned into kind of a downhill running team, and you got Stafford, who was playing at an MVP level, near an MVP level last season, in my opinion, with a healthy Cooper Kupp, with Puka in year 2. I mean, there's going to be a lot to account for. There's going to be a lot that this defense needs to be on their P's and Q's for. And I think you are going to see some learning curves, especially in those holy crap, I can't hear you type of moments. What's this going to be? Like, there's going to be some bumps in the road, but I do trust the link that these guys have formed. Like, you do see the cohesion even between the new guys, even between Carlton Davis. Like, they're seriously on the same board, but like that's a different conversation when 60, 70,000 plus are screaming their hearts out.
I think there's no reason to be worried long term this season. I think by November, December, you're going to see a secondary with a lot of ability back there. I think you're going to see a lot of takeaways. You're going to see Brian Branch at safety. Terry Arnold was a baller, a ball hawk at Alabama. Carlton Davis has gotten his over the years. I just think it's going to be one of those things where it has to come together over time. These guys haven't put a lot of time in on the field together. Brian Branch was barely out there during camp. Not that I'm worried about Brian Branch. No. I'm definitely not. No. But when it comes to communication, which is even more important at safety than it is at corner, there's going to be maybe some growing pains. You have a rookie who's going to be starting in a cacophony at a sold-out Ford Field where the bricks are rattling out of the walls. Like, how does he handle that kind of thing? Is he going to remember his assignment? Is he going to hear the play call? Is he going to go off script because he thinks he sees something and wants to play hero in his first game on national TV? I mean, these are like, I'm not saying he can't do it or there's going to be problems, but I think these are the typical things that you like. Communication is key. Playing together is key. These guys haven't played a single NFL snap together, and now they're going to be doing it on Sunday Night Football against the Rams and a really, really smart quarterback who knows how to pick you apart. And by the way, we focus so much on Stafford, but Puka Nacua is pretty freaking good. You make a mistake, that guy's going to go. And we saw that at Ford Field last year.
Yes, we did.
So we'll see. But for me, I think John asked a great question because I think this is the question about this game. And if the Lions answer these questions, they win this game.
Yeah, and there's no rest for those guys either because it goes from Kupp and Puka to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to Marvin Harrison and Kyler to freaking DK and Tyler Lockett and the Ohio State Cat in Seattle. So it's there's no time to get there's just no time to rest. I mean, it's going to be tough in the beginning, but I have no long-term concerns, but this is about as tough as it can get for these guys out of the gates.
Ryan Komick in GR asks, my question concerning week one's matchup with the Rams is, do you anticipate seeing more of David Montgomery early in the game to set the tone, much like we did last year, and then ease Jahmyr Gibbs back, especially with Gibbs' recent injury? I feel like we can take advantage of the Rams' young defensive front and no Aaron Donald. Thoughts there, Ben?
Yeah, they should absolutely test that Rams defensive line. They've drafted back-to-back guys in the first and second round this year. Kobe Turner was a stud at nose tackle last year, but Aaron Donald not being in the middle, that's as big as loss as you can have at a position. That guy was still a freak of nature when he retired. So, yeah, get Demo rolling off of Penei Sewell's butt as many times as you can until they stop it and you need to go in a different direction. So, set that tone, punch them in the face until they block one.
We just talked to Ben Johnson right before recording this, and something Ben said was that he thinks the Rams defense could be better without Aaron Donald. I definitely chuckled on the inside. Like, he just doesn't want to end up in the papers, like, yeah, we're going to crush them or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I get it. I totally get it. I understand what Ben's doing. That's his job. But, like, this is clearly not as good on the interior without a Hall of Fame monster. Who's given the Lions some fits over the years. My favorite Aaron Donald moment, by the way, was definitely Penei Sewell, 20-year-old rookie going after him.
No back down, no fear.
I saw the press box. I'm like, oh, they're going at it. I looked who it was, and I'm like, oh, this guy was a teenager last year, and he's going after Aaron Donald.
Face to face, screaming for like a 1-9 team. It was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think they'll try to get Demo going early. We saw that last year. That was kind of the script, right? Yeah. Like, we saw a lot of Demo early in games, kind of just feel out the physicality of the opponent, bloody them a little bit maybe, and then open things up from there. Yeah, I think so. You're going to see a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs too. I think David Montgomery has the ultimate trust of this coaching staff that he's going to get you 3 yards and maybe a lot more. So, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think maybe they've learned a lesson from the NFC title game is to when Demo's rolling, don't take your foot off the gas.
It's a great point. I know that game played out a certain way where you had to go to the air.
Yeah.
It was really funky because they had scored a touchdown, and then Gibbs fumbles on like the first play from scrimmage in the red zone. They scored another touchdown, and it was just a quick swing, and before you knew it, you're down. And I understand. But I think they ran the ball maybe 6 or 7 times in the entire second half. And that was after going off for like 175 in the first or something.
Bullying the Niners.
Yeah.
They have the ability to do that against anybody. So they should lean on it when they can.
And it's the first game of the year, Ben. They're going to want to set that physical tone.
Absolutely.
For as much as they can air it out, Dan Campbell is still giddy for ground and pound.
Absolutely.
Wants his guys physical. I think he was secretly enjoying the Lions-Giants joint practice fight fest.
Oh, I guarantee
I know he had to go out publicly and say what he did, but the guy likes physicality, and I think you want to see the Lions. You're going to see the Lions when I establish that tone early. Raymond Nuznoff asks, out of all the second-year guys, I feel like Jack Campbell doesn't get talked about enough. What would a breakout year for him look like, and does he surpass Alex Anzalone at some point? I do think you're going to see a breakout for Jack Campbell. You saw even down the stretch last year, he was a different football player in January than he was in October. Much different. He's kind of taken over that Mike spot from Alex Anzalone, which has moved Anzalone to the will, which I think is more natural for him anyway. The question asks about Campbell surpassing Anzalone. I think I know what Raymond's asking, but I think maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, because these guys play as a team together. They're different roles. It's not like they're competing with each other. But Anzalone he's impressed me as much as anyone that I've seen come through Detroit
Mhm.
since 2021 when this rebuild started. I was a pretty big critic. He's fine for a 3-win team in 2021, leader type who came from New Orleans, could help import the defense. But I always thought he was just kind of a guy, and they could do better. And as a team got better, they should get better at that position. And Anzalone has really proved me wrong. He's a very, very good player, very reliable. 125 tackles each of the last 2 years. I think like only maybe 7 other guys in the league have done that. Having said that, Jack Campbell is bigger, faster, stronger. There's a reason he was taken 18th overall in an era of NFL football where guys at that position as off-ball backers just aren't taken that highly anymore. Um, uh, the potential is there and IQ is there. It's all there. And I think internally in this building, they're really expecting big things from a big jump from Jack Campbell this year.
Yeah, we've both been pretty clear that Campbell is one of, if not the top breakout guy to watch this year. And it is all about him being in that Mike spot, the more natural spot. They don't have to find ways to get him on the field out of where he's comfortable. Not comfortable, but where he's better suited. And he is better suited for that Mike role. Alex Anzalone is a great coverage linebacker. And yeah, surpass Anzalone is the wrong way to look at it because Alex Anzalone is going to have that green dot on his head for as long as he's here because that is the type of leader, that is the type of composed guy he is, and he has spent more time in this defense than like half of the guys on the roster combined. So that's the wrong way to look at it. Those are two pieces moving forward together, especially in their new roles. But yeah, Jack Campbell, you're not hearing about it because he's making it look easy because I think he's a natural Mike linebacker, and I think a breakout year for him is 100 plus tackles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some TFLs. I mean, we saw him living in the backfield a little bit more too. Chris Matthews, maybe I cut it off. My copy and paste. But Chris wants to know how is Kevin Zeitler and has the offensive line had any practice together? Concerned about them coming out strong. I believe the Rams could be susceptible and have trouble stopping the run, but I'd like to know if we feel the offensive line is ready to go. Your thoughts, I guess, there.
This is a non-question for me. I would put all the trust in the world in Hank Fraley, and I know Zeitler got a little banged up in the preseason, but 34-year-old that's missed like 2 games in 10 years, don't worry about that offensive line. They'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. They're so deep and talented. And listen, by the way, Kevin Zeitler's a longtime pro. He's been around and played in different systems. Played in a really good one last year in Baltimore, which really likes to run the ball, and that's what he's going to do as the right guard in Detroit. I mean, I think it's worth mentioning he has Penesu on his right shoulder and Frank Ragnow on his left shoulder. I mean, like it's just an embarrassment of riches. It's like the guy has it made. He probably has one of the best jobs in the offense on the offensive line in the league. Doubt. I mean, he's set up to succeed, and that's what good teams do. And I think Zeitler, he came back to practice maybe a week ago. I wouldn't have too many concerns about his health. Gelling is a thing. The offensive line, they need reps to gel, just like the secondary, which we've talked about. But given the high degree of experience on the offensive line, how much the rest of the guys have played together, the quality of the coaching, Hank Fraley has got to be one of the top offensive line coaches in the league. My concern about the offensive line gelling going into week 1 is totally different than my concern in the secondary, where you have more improving commodities and guys switching positions, and there's no record of success. I mean, they were pretty bad last year defending the pass. So, I wouldn't have my concern on the offensive line going into this game.
No, 4 returning starters and a 34-year-old Pro Bowl who's still playing his great ball. I know banged up, but it's all good. It's all good there. Don't even waste sweat on the offensive line. Seriously.
Brandon Thornton asks, should I have you're already laughing. Should I have alcohol on hand or heartburn medicine to make it through this game? Lions Rams. Why? Maybe all of the above. I don't know. We don't endorse irresponsible drinking on this program, but some self-medication might be prudent.
Alcohol for the first 3 quarters and then get a couple Tums in your belly for the 4th quarter. Get you through the night.
Like I said, I'm biking to the game. It's like what 8:30 start or whatever it is. Like it's going to be just a river of
it's gonna
bodily fluids.
There's going to be a
beverages.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big party in Detroit. I'm actually going to go down a little early just to kind of take in the site. I like to do that sometimes for big games. You get kind of a feel as a writer for the energy. Every game's a little bit different, right? And going around seeing the tailgates, I always really enjoy that. Seeing the jerseys, seeing like the most popular players are, it's It's always a sight.
It's-
Detroit's a wild place.
It
And
is.
on a Lions game day, primetime, it's especially so.
So I want to see offensive line jerseys, no more Stafford and just Kelvin jerseys like it was my first 3 years on the beat. You know, buy those offensive line jerseys. That's what makes my heart happy.
I will say I respected how few Stafford jerseys I saw in Lions Rams won.
Yeah.
Because you still see him at games, and it's probably a top 5 jersey that you see at games with Kelvin. And who's the most popular jersey on this team, do you think?
Oh,
St. Brown, maybe?
St. Brown, I think.
I see a lot of Hutches, too.
A lot of Hutch, a lot of St. Brown. Yeah, those, and Sewell has got a lot.
It's going up.
It is going up, which is great. But yeah, I would put St. Brown on the leaderboard.
I also see a lot of Campbell's.
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the bigger ones. It kind of threw me off because Dan Campbell, Jack Campbell, I don't know. They're selling the Dan Campbells now too. I'd be curious to see how many of those we see on Sunday.
Yeah, the big 87, probably
the black ones.
All black. Yeah, I was gonna say.
You think they'll wear the black on opening day?
Ooh,
prime time.
They should. The new helmet and the new black jerseys. That could be strong.
It's
absolutely.
Sick. The pictures look good, but I think seeing them in person, we saw like a big uniform unveil over the summer. Kirby was wearing it.
Yeah.
Looked pretty good. It looks good under the lights.
Yeah, I'm not a big black uniform guy, but these ones got me.
Yeah.
They fit.
I think it's the shade of blue that goes with it. Yeah, there's something sleek about it.
Yeah. I hope they wear them.
Let's see. John W. asks, what kind of contribution do the Lions coaches realistically expect out of often injured players such as Marcus Davenport and DJ Reader? They can't expect 16 to 17 games. Are they hoping for 13 or 14? I don't have as big of injury concerns with Reader. He's been through this rehab before, and he came back strong and played, I think, 15, 16 games the following year. In 8 seasons in the league, he's played fewer than 14 games just twice. So, like, he's a veteran guy. Like, I think they'll ease him into the rotation, whether he plays in week 1 or maybe comes back in week 2, whatever. We still don't know. With Marcus Davenport, that certainly is the question. He's a former first-round pick. We talked to Taylor Decker this week. Decker said that Marcus Davenport has one of the best bull rushes he's ever seen. And he's a left tackle in the NFL. He's seen some bull rushes, So the power and the length is there. And he's going to be a really nice compliment to Aidan Hutchinson, I think. But the question is, can he stay healthy? Because he's a top 20 pick who has never been able to stay healthy and has bounced around because of it.
Yeah, the Reader concerns are, like you, lesser just because they are going to be able to rotate those interior guys a lot more, the inside-outside versatility they have. Aleem, if Levi is real from what we've seen, that's going to help lift off of him. But yeah, Davenport's the concern. The surgeries are insane through the last 3 years, but I think this coaching staff with Dan and Aaron at the top knows him better than most. They know what they're going to be able to get out of him. And I've said it a couple times, if they can keep Davenport in a 20 to 25 snap per game, I think that's the best route to take it. Let him rush the passer, move those pieces around, get Pascal out there. So yeah,
Levi.
Levi, please get Levi on the edge, please. He's a beast.
Real intrigued. It's because it's one thing like coach speak. Yeah, like doing this job, as you know, Ben.
Yes,
you have to learn to read the BS, the coach speak, right? And you get a feel for it. And with Levi, you can tell it's not just that. I mean, guys are like going out of their way, like. I think Decker was asked about somebody else, and he's like, "Yeah, by the way, Levi's a freak."
Yeah,
it's pretty clear that he's taken a huge jump, and internally in this building, I mean, you talk about jumps. We talk about Jack Campbell making a year two jump. Like, I think that we're all expecting Levi to make that year 4 jump after being out for so long, but having so much ability that Brad Holmes thought about taking him in round 1, got him in round 2, and I'm intrigued.
Dude, him and Derek Barnes' aggression and physicality, like, not to bring Barnes into that, but just to see Levi playing at his best at 305 pounds, you see why Brad Holmes was thinking about him in the first round. Like, it's real, baby.
So my computer just died, and we have practice in a couple minutes anyway, so I think we have to get out of here. But real quickly, prediction. Lions-Rams.
Give me the Lions. I think they cover, too. Give me like 27-20 Lions.
Oh, you're going with the score.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know
got
me.
A pro here. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I think the Lions win. Again, big concern is Terry Arnold and the new look secondary against Stafford. You got to find a way to defend one of the best quarterbacks and, frankly, best receivers in the league at this point, Puka Nacua. But if you can do that, the Lions win this game. I think they do. Like, the crowd is going to be an immense advantage.
It's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait to get in the building.
Bring your plugs and maybe some adult beverages.